Hey guys, it's Ken again, and in this film we're reviewing through the Tommorow People Season 1, Episode 7, Limbo. I think we can all agree this was the weakest episode of the show so far. It was not a good episode. The whole episode was just this stupid love triangle. No, it's more like a quadrangle, and I just felt like I was watching a soap opera the whole time. And the thing is that the problem with this show is that they're trying to target boys for it, like me, and they're targeting it for more girls. More girls are watching the show than boys. It's very strange, and I do not like that at all. So let's just get to this episode. This episode, honestly, was just a giant mess. It really was. This whole episode was a giant mess. And you know what I think the problem is? When we don't have these flashbacks or, like, something really big happen, it's boring. If this is what the rest of the show is going to be, I'm going to be very upset because I want to keep having these flashbacks because that's the best part of the show, in my opinion. As I've said, the show was never perfect, but this episode was by far the worst episode we've had because there was, like, literally nothing that happened most of the time. We could have easily had all of it, and I read something with a review, and I agree. We could have easily had all this summed up in, like, 5 minutes. Someone just could have easily said, oh, this is what happened here. It's kind of like what I said with The Walking Dead. Although The Walking Dead, I think that was definitely a better episode than this. This was more like just a whatever episode. Pretty much, you know, Steve and Kara, they slept together and everything. We find that out. She actually does tell John, and it seems that John's okay with it. But then he goes to beat the crap out of Steven, and Kara ends up having to break up the fight. And she has to, break up the fight and everything. And in the end, he's talking to her, and she says, oh, I'm with John now, don't worry about it. But then you have Astrid, who is annoying the crap out of me, because here's the thing, you could have just had this triangle between Steven, Kara, and John, but you have to have Astrid in there as well, who confesses that she's in love with Steven, because he hears her say it through his mind. I just thought this whole episode was just very bizarre. The whole stuff with the basketball, that came out of nowhere. I didn't even know Steven played basketball until this episode. That came out of nowhere. And the most bizarre part of this episode is that apparently the Tommorow People can see people through water. Because Steven saw his father through the water, and I thought that was by far the strangest part of this episode. And what else was bad about this episode besides everything else I've just said? The other problems I've had with this episode is, again, Astrid. There's just a lot of problems with that. It really was ridiculous what's going on. And the thing is, they could have focused, the Tommorow People are very similar to Arrow, but the problem is that they could have focused on this, the killer. The problem is the killer was barely even in this. It was more of a rapist. The rapist basically, there was this rapist who's the real threat of the story. He's supposed to be, at least, but he's not really in it. He takes the rapist on alone, but since he has power, Steven doesn't. Steven doesn't get himself into some trouble. He finds a way to communicate with Kara telepathically, despite the bracelet being on him, and they come to his aid. Since the rapist can't kill, he knocks Steven out and throws him into the sewage water to drown, and again, that was a weird scene. And the rapist is successfully taken down. Everyone returns to their places. Steven returns to Ultra, tells Jack Kai he's ready to be back in action, working on being an agent. Jack Kai removes his bracelet. His father gives him some type of clues to whatever their overall goal is, but the whole scene was a bit strange. I really found this whole episode just to be very, very bizarre. I don't know if it was just, like, the pacing or something. Yeah, it was. It was the pacing. And here's the thing. Steven made one of the stupidest decisions in this episode. Not only does he have 2 girls after him, but this one girl was going to have sex with him, and he actually was okay with it. They ended up not doing anything because that's what the scene where John almost, that was a big scene. Nothing actually happened. But he was actually willing to have sex with this girl when he's just had sex with Kara, and he's been told that Astrid is in love with him. Like, this guy's a douchebag, and we're supposed to like Steven. I think in this episode Steven is one of the stupidest people I've ever seen in this show. He's probably, my least favorite character on this show. I don't know what it is with CW, but they do not do a good job with having central characters. They've done a good job with fixing Elena on the Vampire Diaries. She's not as annoying as she used to be. Steven just feels like early Elena. He really does, because he's caught up in this love triangle, and it's really not good for the show, because it's supposed to be this heroic show about these superheroes, and it feels like a soap opera. This whole episode, I just felt like I was watching a total soap opera, and I do not want to get that out of watching the Tommorow People. And I'm just going to say, there were no backstories. There was hardly any of the killer. It was just, I love loves me. I like this person. I like this person. I can get if Kara confesses to John about this person. Astrid's in love with Steven. Kara decides that her and John are together and then everything's okay. And that's how it ended. That was the whole episode. And I was just really upset by the episode. And again, Limbo was a perfect title because I was in limbo this entire episode. I mean, I was just like, what's going on here? Huh? What? Where did this... What? I couldn't figure out where this was coming from. I couldn't figure out where that was coming from. I couldn't figure out where anything was coming from. And it was just really, really annoying to me. And I did not really like this episode very much at all. I definitely think this was the worst episode of the season. But maybe you guys didn't. I think most people think it was the worst episode from what I'm reading here. From other reviews. And I don't know. I thought it was just me. But it turns out that everyone disliked it. Do you like this episode? What do you maybe do you like this love triangle? I don't think there are many people who do. But I do not like it. But that's it for my review. I hope you enjoyed it. And I'll see you guys for my review of the Vampire Diaries, which I'm sure is going to be a better episode than the Tommorow people. So see you then. Bye.